so much for joining us today. I know that your schedule is pretty much busy and tight, but thank you for, choosing to do this with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Fantastic. So we're just going to dive right into the questions that we have for you today, and let's just see how the conversation, how we'll navigate the conversation from there. So my first question to you would be, and these questions are asked based off of the fact that we know that you are a higher education specialist and consultant, and so you have a level of expertise with these things, and so we would really love you to give us your expert opinion and counsel as regards this subject matter that we're talking about today. So the first question is, how can continuous education help professionals stay relevant and competitive in today's rapid changing job market?
Thank you once again, Amaya. Greetings to everybody out there listening. The question provokes or brings to mind the popular saying about, when you stop learning, the day you stop learning, the day you die. So, continuous learning as professionals, as individuals, should be a key part of our lives, should be a key part of, our professional development, our professional ambitions. So, on that token, by that token, I mean, it's critical for everybody, working class, to keep on honing their skills. I mean, look at every day new technology comes up, something different comes up. You can't afford to stay on the same spot. And skill enhancements, adaptability. You want to stay relevant, you have to consider, your career advancements. Maybe you're working somewhere. How do you get promoted? How do you get further along career? You want to improve on something you had. I mean, I've had my first degree for, a little over 20 years now. I mean, why do you think you remain relevant? Just stay on that, on that singular degree. I mean, if you remember, we had this conversation when I was enrolling for my MBA at AIU, and I've had this desire to do my MBA for years about one thing or the other. But I always wanted to, so because I know the world keeps rolling, the world keeps, moving. So you have to move, you have to get better, you have to hone the skills. What I learned in school 20 years ago, I have to add to it. I have to add new knowledge. I have to adapt new knowledge. I mean, everything keeps changing. I don't expect that the same materials I learned, that time that, is still being used right now. They will have, revised, reviewed all those things. So why should I now remain in the same spot? So, and also, if not for anything, what about networking opportunities? You want to go back to school, you want to make new network, you want to, which also benefits your business, no matter what stage you are in your career, you want to take advantage of such networking opportunities. You want to also maintain your relevance, in a rapidly evolving field such as technology, healthcare, finance. You consider today you have to have the cutting edge. Otherwise you become obsolete for tomorrow.
True.
So you agree with me, and also for personal growth.
Very true.
Personally, you want to grow, you can't remain. You can't afford to. I mean, there are people who remain in the same spot, but where does that get them? Where does that get them? So you can't afford to for your personal development. In wrapping this question up, I'll just say for lifelong learning fosters personal growth. For a lot of people, personal fulfillment also, because we set goals, we say, okay, we'll do that, so if you're that kind of person, or you're not that kind of person, you should set those goals and work towards attaining them for your personal growth. So in summary, continuous education is indispensable for professionals. For me, I'll say that if you're seeking to stay relevant, competitive in today's world, you need to do it. You invest in yourself, see it as an investment. invest in ongoing learning.
Yeah.
Individuals can position themselves for success such by doing such. So I'll just wrap it up that way.
Fantastic, fantastic. There were key, and salient points you mentioned while just answering the question. Talking about the fact that it helps for personal fulfillment, which is the goal for some person. It helps to be able to get access into a new network, because when you're doing the program, you get to meet different people from different spaces, different ideologies, and also for the fact that just like you said, to stay relevant, it is essential. And there was something you mentioned that I'm just going to, touch down on while I ask you the second question. You said, it took you about 2 decades to then say, okay, I have to go, I have to go back, go back to school.
It didn't take me that long to say so. It took me that long to actually act on it. Because I've been saying so.
Okay. Fantastic. Fantastic.
One thing will come up.
Fantastic. So this brings me to my next question. And I believe that there are so many people, in that dilemma, right? They have it in mind that they want to, sort of pursue a higher degree to just upskill, up level, all the great stuff you just highlighted when answering the first question. And for them, they've not been able to just sort of create that time per se, or the level of the work that they do has not allowed them or giving them that opportunity to. So my next question now is, beyond traditional education, what other forms of online education are valuable to professionals beyond the traditional? Because
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. So the world has gotten to a place where the traditional thing has so many options, so many alternatives, and like we both alluded to, I took me 2 decades to finally act upon that desire to because I wanted a particular, I wanted a degree, I wanted an MBA, so for other people who are more flexible than I was or than I am, there are so many other options available right now. Now I'll say something before I proceed, because now it's more popular to notice or to realize that big firms, the big corporations, Google and the likes, no longer place emphasis on the degree, but on the skills, right? On the skills you have. So there are a litany of so many ways we could develop ourselves. There are certificate programs, which could be, duration could actually be less than the time to take it to get a degree. There are certifications in different fields. There are micro credentials. You just go for a short, or some people call it nano degrees, short online courses on developing specific skills. Because, like I said earlier on, the key thing is developing skills, relevant skills to today's job market. So forget, or you could if getting a full degree is going to be expensive or time consuming, try to get the smaller ones, that could give you the skill, because what you need is the edge. Okay, I have the skills. I don't have a 4-year degree, but I have the skills, to do this job, to deliver on this job. So that's the goal. So there are online courses, there are tutorials. There's a vast array of online courses, provided online. Coursera, Udemy, LinkedIn Learning. There are so many of them right now. Skillshare. I mean, I could go on and on about that. There's virtual workshop or webinar, something like what we're having right now. People could actually come in 1 hour, 45 minutes, 30 minutes, learn a few things, virtual workshops, webinars here and there coming up every day. I mean, live, Instagram live every day. Share from their own experiences, their open online courses. I mean, during COVID, I think this COVID brought this, made this very popular. You hear a very popular course from Harvard is now free. You could just go register, and something people used to pay a lot of money to learn, such university studios open and say, you can register, you can enroll for this course for free. And, I think COVID made that very popular. There are also professional, like the HICAN, like the ACCA. So depending on you want. There are so many options. There are also boot camps. Actually, before this before this session, I got an email from AIU telling me about the boot camp and about a discount that was available to me because I'm an alumni. So they are all out there.
Yeah.
So
But
if the duration, like, I can't invest 2 years into this, maybe for whatever reason, so they are shorter. Just define what you want. You want to learn the skills to be able to play in a certain level, at a certain level, or in a certain industry. You want to
yeah.
make a career switch, start small, learn this, get this certification, do this training. So 3 months course, 6 months course, 8 months course, certification, nano degrees, whatever it is, they are all out there. So the idea is to keep on getting those skills and not sit idle on, the whole degree you had.
Fantastic, fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing. I think one of the if I was to summarize this answer you just provided is saying that people no longer have excuses, right? The online learning and online education has made it much more easier. It's like the learning is now on your palm, whether on your tabloids or your cell phones or your laptops. It's now
Yeah.
easy and accessible, accessible to you. And this leads
There's
me to
something out
my
there for everybody. There's something out there for everybody.
yeah, and this leads me to my next question to you, which is, you know, even though these things like online learning and online education has now been made very accessible, based off of the skill set that the person wants to acquire or the expertise that they want to, learn, and some people still complain that they don't have the time, the work-life balance thing. How do they go about it? So I know that you did a program with one of our partner universities, AIU. You mentioned earlier, the MBA program. How were you able to sort of, maintain the work-life balance? Because I know that you're a very busy person that travels a lot, right? So how were you able to sort of stabilize that? Because I believe someone from this call would definitely, learn some things from what you're sharing.
Yes. Um, you have to decide what do you want. Okay. A lot of people would rather, because they want to migrate, they want to emigrate, leave their jobs, leave family behind, and go out there, which is a big disruption. You want to start all over again. You want to start in a different line. So that's fine. But if you like what you're doing here, and you want something very flexible, like what AIU provides, though it's still in the same 24 hours, like you said, it's still within your busy schedule. But I mean,
Yeah.
compared to a total disruption, of your whole family life balance and all that, then you look at something like what AI provided or provides, provided for me in my situation. I didn't have to leave my wife or my children or my job, which I love, behind. I had just had to fit in, work with the schedule AI provided. And funny enough, most of the deliverables fell around the weekend. I mean, maybe my first assignment was due on a Friday. The last one was due on a Tuesday. So if with proper planning, which is also something we were taught, I mean, before we actually started, part of the orientation program had to do with time management. How to
Wow.
actually schedule yourself. We're all busy. Dangote has 24 hours.
True.
I mean, the biggest people in this world all have 24 hours. So it's all about prioritizing and putting the big things in first. So that way, and I'm not going to come to this webinar and tell you it was easy. No, that program was demanding. Of course, it's a degree, it's an MBA degree. They will collect blood from you. You shouldn't make the mistake of thinking, oh, it's an online program, so it shouldn't be that difficult. No, that. Yeah, there are no exams, but you do a lot of assignments, you do a lot of write-ups. So it's had a lot of challenges. Yeah. So, and that is where the growth actually happens. That's where the skill development we're talking
Yeah.
about actually happens. Challenging yourself, pushing yourself, having to work late into the night to deliver on an assignment. So that's there. And by the time you finish, you put your pen down and you'll be glad that, whoa, you've come out brand new with a totally different experience. So it's all about putting in the everything's first. It's online. It's a full degree. With a lot of workload. I mean, don't think because it's online it's going to be lighter. No, don't make that mistake, and don't also be scared. I mean, we did it. If I could do it, you could do it. It's all how I was juggling. If I could do, anybody out there could do the online degree. So for me, balancing it has to do with discipline. Basically, you have to be
Mm.
disciplined, show some
Yeah.
set clear goals. This is what I want.
Yeah.
Create a schedule. This
Mm-hmm.
like I said, the way it was designed, I believe it was intentionally designed. My first assignment is due on Fridays. If you could make out time and even deliver that before Friday, or squeeze in some time and quickly deliver the first assignment even before Friday. So it's all about you having a timetable and sticking to it. Break it down. If I do this at this time, I have time to do something else. So break it down. What does this degree require of me? Break it down. Utilize
Mm.
your downtime. There might be times where you actually have free time on your hands. So utilize it, quickly put in some work during those
Mm-hmm.
downtime. Prioritize your task. That's what I'm saying. Put the big things in first. The little things can
Mm-hmm.
come in later. Eliminate distraction. Don't get carried away by the latest movie breaking the box office. I mean, it's just for a limited time, which we'll touch on,
Yeah.
at some point, this in this discussion, because one of the key things the program, um, one of the key attractive things the program gave me was the duration. I like the fact that you be under 1 year and so you just look at it, okay, for the next 12 months, let me just put my energy into this thing and get it. To take
Yeah.
advantage of flexibility, you actually still go to work and still be running your program. I mean, without having to shut down one part of your life or the other. Use technology
Mm.
to your advantage. I mean, if you have internet and you have a laptop or a phone, you're in school, they do
Yeah.
school in a modern way. Stay consistent. Um, so I'll just say a word is enough for the wise. It's same 24 hours. Plan yourself, set your goals, take
Yeah.
advantage of downtimes, don't get distracted.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it. That's it. It's a busy time
Fantastic.
for everybody.
Fantastic. Fantastic. I like how you broke it down and you made it seem very easy, by just saying, by just saying this the start point is having a goal, like a set objective that you want to achieve. The next point on is prioritization, do the heavy tasks first and the lesser tasks later, cut out distraction and just tell yourself it's for an 11 months in your case. It's
Yeah,
less than a year. So I'm
yeah,
committing this next, 11 months into investing into my future. And after that, I'm free to, to do whatever it is,
yeah.
and also talking about the fact that when you have a couple of free time, put in
Mhm.
the work, because some people have this attitude of just leaving things to like last minute and they're wondering why they are falling behind. Like, oh my God, it's so demanding, it's so demanding. But right, like you rightly said, everybody has 24 hours. It's just a function of prioritization.
Mhm.
Everybody has 24 hours, just a function of prioritization. So thank you very much for that answer. My next question to you will then be that typically for anyone that has heard, what you shared about online education, your experience at AIU, and they're contemplating whether or not to like go for an online program. They have it in their mind, but they're just still wondering if it's something that would be suitable for them. Because we've had cases where someone said, the Nigerian employers don't accept online degrees, they don't accept it. So like they'll ask you, when exactly did you leave this job to go study? How valid is this degree? For such a person that is on this call that's listening to us, what would be your advice to such a person?
Is a school and a degree certified? I mean, what level of acceptance they have government approval? You get what are
Yeah.
the alumni? What does the alumni body look like?
Mm.
What's the course content, the modules? If you go through those modules, what do they look like? So for me, those are the
Yeah.
things. And like I said at the beginning of this discussion, what skills am I coming out with at the end of the day? Because those are the key
Yeah.
things. If one gets fixated on the issue of what the employer is saying, then you probably get stuck with that particular employer, right? But if you're looking at the skills, the network, all the potentials you can come up with at the end of 11 months, 12 months, on the other side, because let's not mince words here. Whether you start that degree or you don't, those 11 months will pass.
Yes. True. Very true.
So they either pass with you adding value or with you faffing around. So it's your choice.
Mm.
Right? So for me, I also think for such people they need to broaden their horizon. If
Yeah.
you're thinking just about one employer in Nigeria doing a critique of whether your degree being online is valid or not, I want you to look at the modules of what's, because I ask questions a lot. I mean, it's it's rather um unfortunate that you're the same person I asked all those questions to before I enrolled,
Yes.
and you're the one asking those
Yeah.
questions. I wish there was somebody else so that they can actually testify to see how much I queried the program and
Yeah.
the validity and all that. So ask your questions. Get get to the bottom of the program, the people behind it, how long they've been in existence, the history of the college, the history of the university, their reputation. You know, I had a similar experience where we had something like this, and somebody now asked if the program was accredited, and the facilitator was very blunt. He said, no, they are working on the facilitation. I heard that there were no questions for the remainder of the program of the webinar. And we're like, so people are just fixated on accreditation alone. How about the skills you're getting from it? Okay, what about next year and the program gets accredited? That's when you now want to come. And the price of the program will have doubled, you know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Why is it getting now? Then maybe 2 months down the line, the program gets accredited and you enjoy all the benefits of it. But right now,
Yeah.
focus on the skill you're getting, focus on the network you're making, focus on the benefits, other benefits that enrolling in that program will get you. So don't get fixated on what's it called, accreditation or all that. So look at the skills, look at the modules, what's the content? Does this suit what I actually desire to progress in my career? When I go through this,
Mm-hmm.
how effective will I be on my job? How, maybe I'm looking for a leadership role, will this avail me such skills to actually lead, to actually deliver on my job? You know,
Yeah.
um, in just let me just run through some quick, research thoroughly. Just want to give bullet points. Research thoroughly, which I did. Ask questions, which I did. Clarify your goals. Does this align with where I'm actually going, my career path? Does this program give me, what I want? Does it take me to where I'm going to? Assess your readiness. Am I actually ready financially,
Mm-hmm.
psychologically? You know, but let me tell you something. You will never be ready. Just do it like that. Because that's the excuse of people who say, no, I'm not ready. So you will never be ready. You just do it like that.
You
Evaluate the
you
program structure, which I've said already about. Look at the modules.
yeah.
This one, this one, this one. Okay. You know, the issue, one of the issues I had, you know, MBAs generally, which was one of the reasons why it took me so long. But I didn't want to do something similar to what I did in undergraduate level. I wanted to do something separate, feeling that will add more value to me, So,
Yeah.
but I looked at the structure and it suited me, consider support services. There are a lot of that in AI. I can tell you that for free. Um, there's what's her name now? Clara. I'm trying
Laura,
to remember.
yeah.
I'm trying to remember her designation. I mean, she'll call, she'll send you email, tell you, oh, your program is starting on so day. So if you have questions, there's always somebody to talk to. There's always an email to send, and Amaya is also there. So there's a lot of support for this program. If if you're having any doubts, I mean, there's a lot of support online. That is online, that is not physical, doesn't mean that you won't get the necessary support you need. So don't make that mistake to say, oh, because it's online, I might not be able to get the kind of support I need.
Yeah.
Stay engaged and active, maintain, stay focused. So that's what I'll just say.
Fantastic. The way you answered the question I just asked, you've even answered the next question I was about to ask, which is what are like the critical factors you think people should consider? And you've already highlighted, what people should consider: accreditation, support, flexibility of the program, the curriculum. And I think, one thing that most people don't necessarily look at so much, which is one thing you've really throw a lot of light on, was the curriculum. Like, what would this degree do for me? Would it equip me for my goal? When you talk about clarifying your goal, would this be useful as regards what it is that I want to achieve? Most people are just fixated on, some things that are important, but, I did that really important. Accreditation, it's a good thing. You can't really blame them. Accreditation is a good thing because for some persons, they want to be open to global opportunities. And so with accreditation, the level of acceptance or acceptability of the degree is higher. And in our case, that's not an issue. Our programs are globally recognized. That's not an issue. So you can have it here wherever you are remotely, but still be able to take advantage of global opportunities. So my next question to you would then be, how can professionals leverage knowledge and skills gained through online learning to demonstrate value to their current employer or potential employer, right? How can they leverage on the skill? Because it's one thing to acquire a skill, it's another thing to then translate what has been acquired to value, so you can, ultimately get outcomes or results. So how can, professionals that are leveraging on online education sort of take that value they've acquired and then, be resourceful at their current place of employment or their next employer?
So I'll rephrase that question to say, how much noise can I make when I bag this my MBA? Now, I'm not the noisy type. I mean, for like several months afterwards, I didn't even update my LinkedIn. So don't be like, be like the typical LinkedIn active person on LinkedIn, where everything they are saying, they upload. Because how else can you leverage on something you also had to get, than to show it off? Oh, I remember seeing one of my classmates, putting it right next to her name. Let's say her name is James David MBA. I'm like, is MBA one of you? Is your third name? So, no wasting of time. Just put it there. Because how else are employers, going to see that, oh, this guy has an MBA. Oh, this guy went to AIU. How will your fellow alumni members, who are also looking for key talents, and you have the talent, how they recognize that, oh, yeah, he's actually an alumni of my school, So first of all, get it up there, get it out there, showcase, highlight relevant skills, redo your LinkedIn profile, redo your CV, projecting those things you've learned, bragging about the new degree you have. I mean, you paid good money for it, so brag about it. Redo your CV and LinkedIn, showcase your new skills. If it's a certification, put it up there. If it's all these short courses that we mentioned earlier on, put it up there. Not necessarily an MBA, whatever it is you've just accomplished, put it, show it off. Let the world know that you are the best at it, even though you are still learning. Put it up there. Showcase projects. Maybe while you were doing those certifications, you accomplished certain projects. Put it up there. It's part of the experience you started building. Add it to your portfolio of projects accomplished. Create digital links. Maybe create content video, put the link there. Somebody clicks on it and sees what you can do or something done. Put it up
True.
there. So it's all about branding yourself for this new level that you just attained to. Let the world know the impact you've created in the past and what you're capable of doing, the results you're also capable of generating because of this new level of skills you've just attained. Seek opportunities for promotion. Don't say, oh, they want 3 years. I only have 6 months. Go for it. Seek the opportunities. Put it there that, oh, I only have this amount, or I have these skills. Maybe they're asking for 2 years, 3 years, and you just have one, but you have the skills anyway. So you don't know who paid forward and say, okay, let's give him the chance. Let's give her the chance.
Yeah.
So seek opportunities. Don't limit yourself. Offer solutions to challenges based on that new energy, the new level you have and the energy you have, coming along with it. Offer solutions. Don't overpromise and underdeliver. Don't overpromise. Say the skills you've learned and what you've accomplished while you were learning it, the portfolio of work you've done, your body of work. Put all that together and showcase it. Don't shy away from anything. Engage in continuous learning. So when you finish that certification program, whatever, go for follow-ups. If they are recertified in that field, go for it. Whatever is next, keep reading the journals. If it's a professional qualification, the ICANNs, and be involved. Read the journals. Partake in discussions. Write articles on LinkedIn. I mean, be an active contributor to the subject matter, the industry, and that's you're also reading. If you're going to be writing, that means you're reading, and you never know, might see what you wrote, which the solution to is the problem you might have, and like, oh, you wrote this article, so that won't happen if you are not continuously engaging, and network and build. If there are conferences, if there are gatherings where professionals in those industries are gathering, attend, make out time. If you can't attend physically, attend virtually, talk your way around it. Seek feedback always also, am I doing this right? At work, the client, what are the feedbacks you have for us for the work we've done so far, even though the project is not finished? So seek feedback, continuously engage, continuously learn. I hope that answers your question.
Fantastic. Yes, in depth. And there was something you highlighted while answering this question that is giving rise to the next question I'm going to ask you. And I know that the subject is still the role of education for professional development. You made mention about networking, right?
Yeah.
You talked about networking. And another sort of objections or concerns that we hear people talk about most times, especially for like online education or online learning, they're like, they don't have the opportunity to be able to network. That's not a possibility. Unlike I would see the person in class, I can talk to them, if we have study groups or study discussions and things like that. What was your experience as regards that at AIU? Did you have that opportunity to sort of network, or it wasn't something you were just looking out for?
It was something I was looking out for personally. A lot of people, a lot of fellow students in my class were not. They were not that outgoing. But I went to the class list for every course I took. I'll go to the class list, see everybody, because it varies. It varies. Maybe 20 people will do a particular module, then the next module will be a different set, maybe just a few people in the format you get. So that was also an opportunity to even network with more people. So it's not just a for all the modules. No. So I tried to do that. I wouldn't say I did it for all my modules, but whenever I remember, I go to the class list, then I go to LinkedIn, then I try to connect. So that was just me. I'm not sure any other person in all the modules I did went out of their way to do that same thing.
Yeah.
But that was just me. That no, I went to network in this program. you know.
Yes.
So I'll go to the class list to see. Oh, then it's always fun when I see a Nigerian enrolled for a particular program.
Wow.
Yes, it's always very interesting. So that way I could actually open the chat, then start chatting with the person that hi, blah blah blah. So that's one level also. Open the chat section and actually chat with classmates. But you know, a lot of people wearing that outgoing. But
Mm.
I intentionally wanted to do that, and that's the way I mean, like the friend I made, the classmate I made reference to earlier on. That's me just going to LinkedIn, going to the class list, and going to LinkedIn. Then some you might not find, maybe they're not using a different name on LinkedIn, and then some you will find.
Yeah.
So that was just me going out of my way to say this networking thing, we're going to make it happen by force, by fire.
Mm. Fantastic. So from what you're saying is there has to be a level of intentionality on
Yeah,
the individual's part. So as
yeah,
much as there will be people that would also sort of reach out to you, but on your own, you want to
yeah.
have to make that effort to, sort of try to connect and reach out.
And I reached out to some lecturers too. There were some lecturers who were actually very inspirational. Yeah,
Mm.
and I wrote them emails, but long and short, um, sometimes the work, the load can be very much. So some of those things suffered. Some of those networking things suffered. Hey, you're looking at all the papers you need to deliver. You're not so enthusiastic about writing anybody an email.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, but I did
Fantastic, fantastic.
excel. I
But
did
but but
excel.
it's good to know that that opportunity exists. Unlike some
Yes,
people where they have the preconceived notion that, oh no, that they will not have that opportunity or that
and
ability to be able to connect.
and there's actually a forum for AIU. I can't remember what it's called now, to actually network, as in people outside of your program, like an online campus kind of thing. So that is
Oh
another,
wow.
yeah. So there's that also. Yeah.
Fantastic, fantastic. You know what? You just said something like, the workload is too much, but so you can't really focus on that. Let's focus on why we are here. I remember one time having a conversation with you, and you're like, Amaya, the papers I have to turn in. I told you like, after this now, you are a scholar, after turning in 10 pages every week. What's remaining?
Yeah,
It's to be an author. That's what's remaining. But
yeah,
highlighted in one of the questions you answer that it is in that place of consistent work that growth happens. In that place where you are stretched, you are pressed, and you just see yourself rising up to the occasion once that demand has been placed on you. You just see yourself, coming up to that expectation that has been placed on you. That ordinarily, if you did not have those circumstances, probably you
mhm,
wouldn't have, as a person, push yourself, that much to deliver. And that
yeah.
also, in some ways, I feel like that also helps with a person's, self-esteem or self-confidence to just know that I can do this, I can do hard
Absolutely,
stuff,
absolutely.
resilience and all that. So even as much as you are working on earning a degree, it's also doing something to your character, doing
Yes,
something to your self-concept,
yes.
your self-confidence and all that. And so that's an extra side benefit, right? What do you say about that?
Absolutely. The whole process of starting and completing a degree is supposed to change your personality, give you character, give you grit, give you belief.
Yeah.
So, and some more that I can't really find the words for right now, because it's like a baptism of fire. You go in and you get refined. Yeah, and you get refined, you know. So that's it. So you don't expect to go in and come out the same.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. I like how you coined it, baptism of fire. It's like it's the process of just purifying the gold.
Yeah,
Gold has to go through a lot of refining before it becomes that object that is admired and loved and everybody wants to have it. And so I think, having to do that, going for a program helps you be more refined as well.
yeah,
So this will be my final question to you, Mr. TA. And the question is pretty much very, very simple. It's like, what would you give as an advice to a young professional, about the importance of lifelong learning? Because there's some persons that are just at their entry level, on their job, or they just recently graduated. This thing, especially in Nigeria, once a graduate just finishes school, they're like, huh, Awolowo, thank God, I'm done, bye-bye to the books. So what would be your advice to like an entry-level professional or a person that just recently graduated and they are in the job market? What would be your advice to them as regard the importance of lifelong learning?
When you ask when you were asking the question, I remember the saying. I think it was when we were at the NYC camp, or the day we finished our last paper, my undergrad was in Yoruba, like Kawemo, we're not reading books, car and read. Car means read, right? Kawemo Aka, which means we're not reading books, we're not studying anymore. We're only counting money.
Yeah, we're
Both
free.
both count and read are the same word, in Yoruba. So that is, we're not reading anymore, we're not studying anymore, we're counting money next. But if you say it in Yoruba, that is why we're going to be counting money from now. So that is the kind of spirit you're describing, right? But you should never rest on your words, okay? Because that's just like you climbing one mountain, still at the base of another mountain, right? And like we alluded to earlier in the discussion, because the world is so dynamic nowadays. I mean, it's always been dynamic, but I mean, these days it seems to be on the heels of, one on the heels of the other. The way technology advancements, everything rolling in. So by that token alone, you just taking time to observe how fast technology is changing, things are changing. You can't afford to, just sit back and say because you have a positive, you know. If you're saying that, then I want to hear your plans to get skills in other areas. Okay, so if you're saying no, I'm not getting a degree. Okay, so I want to hear. Okay, so I want to get this skill. I want to get that skill, which I won't necessarily get going to a physical school. If that's the situation, fantastic. But you cannot just afford to sit. The world is moving. You have to remain adaptable. You have to look at how you have to advance. Whatever chosen field we find ourselves. So you have to look at adaptability. You want to be you want to be nimble. You can't just be rigid. You want to be able to. And also, what are the personal goals? If you have which you should, then you want to see them fulfilled. You know, so it's only somebody who doesn't have personal goals that wants to say, no, I'm not doing any self-development anymore. And like we said earlier on, the moment you say that, then you begin to die really. Then the whole essence of going back to that my Yoruba saying, the whole essence of you counting money, and if you don't want to read books anymore, is to solve problems. So, what areas do you want to be solving problems? And if you want to be solving problems, you need to hone your skills. You need to learn something. You need to keep developing. Because the problem, the one who solves the problems is the one who had values, and the one who had values is the one who makes money. So, if you're so fixated on, oh, I just want to make money. So, what problems and how do you want to solve those problems? So, the key thing is, I'm a problem solver. So, if you had needs and you know that you're a problem solver, definitely you have to also key into self-development, personal development. Can't afford to sit back. And of course, no man is an island. I'll still go back to networking. Takes to, there's a saying that says you're 4 persons away from Joe Biden, for example. You are Maya. And it's the truth. So how will you network with those 4 people if you're not going out there, if you're not mingling and networking? How will you find those your 4 people if you need to talk to Joe Biden tomorrow? Future proofing, which is also what we said earlier on. You want to be able to say whatever the future of work is, I'm positioning myself to be able to play in that future.
True.
And that's the to what skills are we getting? Okay, let me look at it. The way the world is going now, what skills will be relevant in 5 years' time, 10 years' time? I should be positioning myself for that. I should be able to say, okay, I will be relevant in that area or in this area that is connected to that area. So future proofing, that's it. We can't afford to just sit you know, and is in such environments like his school, is scholastic environment, that these discussions can be had, but not only in those environments alone, but I mean, those environments afford you the opportunities to have this kind of discussions, to say
True.
what's the future of work, where's the world going to, what's the professions that will be needed in the next 5 years, 10 years. So, one can just, then global perspective. The world, like, has been popular nowadays, the saying which has been popular is the world is a global village. So we want to fit,
Yeah.
you want to position yourself in such, an environment to say, I want to be a globally acceptable, player. Whatever I'm doing should be relevant anywhere in the world, not just relevant
Mm.
in Nigeria alone. So that's also one of the reasons why you might need an international degree from, from a school like AI, because you want something that's globally acceptable or respected, you know, in
Yeah.
globally. So you want to have that global appeal. You want to have that global perspective to whatever it is you're doing. So that's it in a nutshell. Not saying too much. Go for it. Don't sit on your horse. Network. Have a global perspective. Then I guess we're good.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Mr. TA, thank you so much. This conversation with you has been insightful, really insightful. And I
Thank
believe that everyone listening on the call has learned, a couple of things as regards the role of education in, professional development. And I like how you sort of made the answers that you gave more relatable. Like, it's not far-fetched, it's contemporary, something that people can, even take the learnings from not just their professional standpoint, but also allow the learnings influence their personal lives. So thank you, thank you for coming on the call with us. Thank you for spending this last 1 hour with us on the call.
My
Thank you
pleasure.
so much. Thank you.
All right. Thank you too.
Okay. So we're going to take a couple of questions.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to take a couple of questions. Well, okay. So the questions and answers. Okay. Okay. James, I was hoping to see the question slides. Okay. I think the first question talks a bit about what universities are we, do we have affiliations to, and what universities are we partnering with? So typically, the universities that we are currently working with is American Intercontinental University and Trident University, but we're also working as to also bring other universities on board, like Colorado Tech University, Southern California University as well. So we're working to also bring that on board. Reason being that in recent times, just like Mr. Tia was highlighting, in recent times, there are a lot of in-demand skills that are coming up. And so we want to be able to also serve people better. So we're looking out for opportunities to be able to bring in more courses on board. And so that's why we're working on bringing more universities on board. But currently, these are the two universities that we are working with, American Intercontinental University and Trinity University. So I think the next question borders around, what are the programs that we're doing? And so typically we work, we are offering programs that are career-based. So our programs include MSIT, education, healthcare, and MBA, which was the program that Mr. TA did with us. So if you're also wondering, oh, because he mentioned one of the things to also look out for is accreditations, support, the length of program. For accreditations, we have ACBSP. For those of you that might not know what ACBSP means, it just means Accreditation Council for Business School Programs. We also have regional accreditation. We also have higher learning accreditation. So regional accreditation speaks to the fact that the certification that you acquire from any of our partner university is widely accepted. So it's not just within the national where it was acquired, but also you can say, for instance, the degree is an American degree. You can use it in North America, it's accepted. Use it in South America, it's accepted. Use it in Europe, it's accepted. So the acceptability is wider. And HLC is Higher Learning Commission. For context sake, HLC is typically what you would say NUC in Nigeria. So they're like the body that certifies accreditations, yes, within the US. So the next question, please. Okay. Much more than we do, so there are different kinds of programs. The next question was about the kinds of programs. So much more than the programs are career-based or career-focused. We also do at different levels. So there's the bachelor's, there's the master's, and there's also doctoral and associates. So for those of you that are not certain what an associate degree is, associate speaks of what you would call in Nigeria a diploma program. So we have those. Okay, next question. The grants. Okay, so typically because of the alliance that we have with our partner university, we are able to give Africans access to grants. And so because of the grants, you get to pay a fraction of the tuition cost. So your tuition is highly subsidized. So typically a program that should cost you $26,000 per academic session, you would pay 10% fraction of that per academic session, which would then be $2,600 US. And you don't necessarily need to pay upfront. If you're able to do that, that's totally fine. But if you're unable to pay all 2,600 upfront per academic session, you are able to pay in installments, $1,400 your first installment, $700 your second installment, then your third installment is $500. Yes. So next question, please. Okay. The duration of the program. So like I mentioned earlier, the degree programs are distinct, ranging from associates, bachelor's, master's, and doctoral. For each of those programs, the time frames are quite different. Like the MBA program that Mr. Tope did with us was for 11 months. So yes, so our master's programs is typically 11 months. Our bachelor's program is for 34 months, which is 2 years and 10 months. The doctoral program spans across from 3 years to almost 4 years, depending on the number of courses that you take. Then the associate degree, which I said in the Nigerian context, is like your diploma program, is for 17 months. So yes, for each of those programs, the cost is still a fraction of the ideal cost. For every person that leverages on the Destiny Education grant, you get to pay just a fraction of the ideal actual tuition cost. Next question, please. Okay. The next question is about enrollment requirements. So for enrollment requirements, typically, your first point of call is to sort of reach out to us. You could send an email at advisors@destinyedu.com, or you could check us out on our website, destinyedu.com. So the program requirement differs. It depends on the particular program that you are doing or that you have in mind to do. The program requirements for bachelor's is different from the program requirements for master's. It's also different from the program requirements for doctoral program. But across board, there are similarities. But the higher the program that you are trying to do, the more requirements. But typically, as long as you have a valid ID, preferably your international passport, your high school certificate, either that's if you're doing your bachelor's, those are the two main requirements, aside, proof of you being able to cover your tuition. Then for the graduate program, you would need your bachelor's, your transcript, as well as your CV and access to good internet and a computer. Then for a doctoral program, a little bit more. You would then need references as well as scholarly written work in addition to the same requirements required for the master's program. Next question, please. Okay. How to contact us. I think I highlighted that before. You could also drop a couple of messages within the chat as to how to connect with us. Okay, so Mr. Tia, this question is for you.
Okay.
Yes, you had made mention about the future of work. So for anyone looking out to develop a skill that would make them relevant for the future of work, what skill sets would you say that they should work on acquiring? Because you said you mentioned future of work, so the person is keen about future of work.
You should look at what you love to do. Start from there. What you love to do, how relevant is that to things happening right now? Because if things are happening right now, that will take us to the future, right? Right now, IT is on the rise, and there are different aspects to it. Cyber security, there's information security, there are so many AI, robotics, so many. So you look at what you love to do, how does that fit into where you think the world is going into, driverless cars, different things happening around us. COVID hit and different things started happening, more of delivery drivers needed, and now drones are even making deliveries. So, based on your passion, look at that vis-a-vis where the world is going into. I won't sit down here and tell you this is what you should do for the future of work. So it's something you need to, it's a question you need to answer by yourself based on what you can see right now, and you don't have to be in a hurry about it. Just look at the trend, and you can also go online and there are so many research statistics available about that. Most high impact jobs this year, highest paid jobs, don't look at the pay though, depending on your search criteria, you can see what jobs will be relevant in the next 10 years, what jobs, so based on that, you can make your decision. The key thing is for you not to just sit on your back and not do anything. So self-development, personal development is critical.
Fantastic. And I think the final question to you is more like an offshoot from what you had just highlighted. The person is asking, what would be the basic skills that people should focus on? Because I think this question might be coming from the fear that because of this revolution that is happening with AI, people are saying AI is going to take my job, AI is going to take my job. And so personally, I believe there are some fundamentals that AI cannot do, right? So, but to answer this person's question, what do you think are the basic skills that will never go out of style or trend or fashion that will still be relevant in the future?
No, that's the wrong way to look at it. Don't let us look at the things that will never go out of trend. Let's look at the millions or thousands of jobs that AI will get. AI is a disruptor. Definitely. Some jobs will go, but I bet you some new things will be needed. So don't let us look at it. If you're looking at it from that way, it's from a fearful angle. New opportunities will arise. Before AI, there had been different opportunities that came and are nowhere anymore now. So who even said AI is the end game? Some person and AI will come. So let's look at the opportunities that will also arise from the introduction of AI. So guys, relax.
Fantastic. I like how you put it, that rather than looking at it from a fear-based perspective, look at it from an inspiration perspective, like, okay, what can I leverage on? What can I, just like technology is an amplifier, is an enabler. It makes things more efficient and, work better. So what am I currently doing that I can leverage technology, AI, to be more proficient at. I think that's a better angle to sort of look at it, right?
Yes. You look at the
Fantastic.
technologies we have right now. What technologies
Mm.
did it replace? Maybe our touchscreen phones now displaced our analog phones. Who's crying about analog phones?
Mm.
Jobs because analog phones are no longer around. Who's crying? Tell me. You get. So
Mm.
same way another technology will come and displace this touchscreen iPhone 15. I mean, in 10 years, 5 years time, it might not even be relevant anymore. So who's going to be crying about that?
Mm.
New things will come up and new opportunities will come up.
Fantastic. So rather than being fixated on, what is fading away, look
Yeah,
with inspiration and hope into what is coming, what is happening, what AI is birthing into our experience, the experience of
yeah.
humanity. Fantastic, fantastic. So that would be all the questions that we have today. Thank you so much once again, Mr.
Thank
TA,
you
for
for having
spending the last over an hour with us today on this call. And I believe that everyone that is on the call has learned a couple of things as regards the role of education for professional development. And just much more than just learning, do take advantage, just like he said, keep learning, keep evolving, keep growing. And that's how you be a resourceful person to yourself, your environment, and even to society at large. Thank you again, once again, everyone. Do have a pleasant
you.
evening.
It's a
life-changing opportunity to obtain a bachelor's, master's, up to a doctoral degree from an American accredited university with a cost of just 10% of the entire tuition. We want to enable you to achieve your career goals and land you on your dream job. Every one of us at Destiny Education want you to be confident and get a world-class education that'll set you up for success. Don't let the high cost of tuition hold you back from pursuing your dreams. Apply through Destiny Education today and let us unlock the fullness of your potential. This is your opportunity to change your life and the lives that you at Destiny. At Destiny